So let's start at 10, going to number 1. Danny, I'll go to you first. Utah, zero or hero?
Question still at quarterback. Starting quarterback is still recovering from the ACL injury last year. I mean, they got the grit. They've been here before. I will, as far as I think right now, they're the third best team in the Pac-12. So I'm going to go zero until the quarterback situation gets figured out.
Yeah, definitely question marks with the return of Cam Rising. Corey, zero hero for the Utah Utes.
Yeah, I'm right there with Danny. It's a zero for me until we get the quarterback thing situated. He was great when he was healthy. Coming off that injury, I just got to see it, and I haven't. So once we see it, maybe. But I'm with you. Third best in the conference, and I don't know that it's terribly close. I think the gap between them and second and first is pretty large. So
Yeah, I think you don't just stumble onto being 4-0. I think we've got something here with Utah. But I'm with you guys, and it's funny how we have the the Conference of Champions right now, Pac-12. Everybody's you know leaving after this year, and we've got a bunch of teams just playing really really good football. But again, this year only 4 teams. We don't expand the playoff until next year, so it's going to be really really tight coming down the end of the season here. I would agree with you guys. I'm giving Utah a zero. For now, I don't think they'll be there at the end of the year. Moving down the line to number 9, a huge win for Oregon versus Colorado. Danny, back over to you. Zero or hero for Oregon.
I mean, I love Colorado. I'm on hype train still, but I don't know
the
about a
train's off the
huge
rails,
win
buddy.
for maybe a hype. Yeah, it was a big win for hype for Oregon.
Well, it would have been a
I
huge
still
loss.
think,
So
yeah, that is true. Despite Colorado being a ranked team, everyone kind of thought they were just waiting for the bottom to drop out. I would actually have Utah ahead of Oregon, in my opinion here. But they're fine. I think the Pac-12, they're just gonna cannibalize themselves. They're fine. They can be they're zeros right now until they can prove that they can beat Washington and USC.
yeah, Corey, Danny putting some mad disrespect on the Conference of Champions right now. What are your thoughts on Oregon? Zero or hero?
Hey, I'm kind of okay with it. I think we're gonna heap on some more. I'm gonna say zero for now. I mean, they've done everything they're supposed to do so far. They've beaten everybody they've played, and it's not one game has been even somewhat close. I mean, they've beat the brakes off of everybody. Prime's entire train is off the rails. It's on fire. Um,
All
I
right, let's
mean,
not go there.
I don't want to say I called it, but like I think I
I
remember saying something about that Louis was a knockoff.
Oh my
Just
gosh.
saying. Yeah, no, Colorado's trash.
They're gonna
Anyways,
go
moving
11 and
on.
1, and people would be like, "No, yes, yeah, I told you so." They went 11 and
They're
1.
not. Don't they have to play USC?
They play USC
I'm
this
sure
week.
Washington and
They're gonna get dragged. They might lose just as bad in that one.
Yeah, I think
I don't
I
know.
think
That's gonna be bad.
Oregon for me is also a zero, and not because of anything we've seen so far. We just know any nighttime primetime games, Bo Nick's going to throw 5 interceptions.
Bo
So he's just not that
Yeah,
guy.
yeah.
We've established
Hey
this
man, Bo
now in
Nix
his
looks
8th
great against
year.
high school teams.
Yeah, the sample size of 8 college football seasons, we now know Bo Nix is not going to show up in primetime games. So I am absolutely okay giving the Ducks, right, their own logo. Big zero for the Oregon Ducks. All right, moving down the list. Quite surprising, honestly, for me. USC at number 8. They did have a hard time with Arizona State last weekend, but 4-0 at number 8. Corey, back over to you. Zero or hero for USC?
Yeah, so this one's tough because I had USC, I believe, in my Final Four at the beginning of the season. And I still believe in Caleb Williams, but yeah, they struggled. They didn't look so great this last weekend. Um, I don't know if I want to go all the way to zero, but I think they've fallen off of that hero podium for me for now. I don't know that I would have dropped them this far, though. Seems like a big drop for a team that, they've proven some things and they've returned some talent from last year to do so. If I have to pick one or the other, I'm going to go 0 now, but reluctantly, begrudgingly.
Yeah, we're kind of in the space here where 8, you're really kind of on that bubble sphere. One loss, probably you're not getting back into that top 4. Danny, 0 or hero for the USC Trojans?
0. They haven't played anybody. 0.
0. Okay, man, just no love right now from the Empty Bottle Sports
Ugh.
team right now. USC, for me, I think down the line is going to be a hero. I think they'll be there at the end of the season. So I'm gonna go hero, giving out our first hero to the USC Trojans. Uh, Continuing in the Conference of Champions, we have the Washington Huskies. Have looked incredible. Michael Penix Jr. transferred from Indiana, could have been, supporting those Hoosiers for Corey, even though he is a Michigan fan. I'll throw it back over to Corey. 0 or hero for the Washington Huskies?
I'm going to go 0 here, despite the fact that offense is consistently impressive. The defense led up 32 to California, if I'm not mistaken. That hurts. That's not good. Giving up 32 to California, that's some caution flags for me. I would have USC ahead of them still, and I may even have Penn State or USC ahead of Penn State as well. I'm going to go 0 for Washington. They haven't proven enough. The only person on that team to me that's proven is the quarterback in Penix, and he's also in like his 5th or 6th year, I think, of eligibility at this point. So I might have exaggerated that.
I think he got injured.
He did. It was a knee injury. I think he had it twice, actually, but I'm not sure.
Yeah. Danny, over to you on the Washington Huskies, another team that's on the move from the Conference of Champions. 0 or hero?
Yeah, future Big Ten team. Still weird to say, but I'm going to call them heroes. They've had a much tougher schedule than USC has, playing 2 of the best power group of 5 teams out there in Boise State and Michigan State, and they just absolutely dismantled both of those 2 teams. So I'm going to go hero. And yes, I did call Michigan State.
Good to know Michigan State is now a Group of 5 school.
I'm on board. They suck.
That's some severe disrespect as well. I'm going to go 0 as well,
Down with little brother.
Just because you're looking at probably one team from the Conference of Champions. So at the end of the season, I think Washington will end up being a 0. We'll keep it moving down the line. Another team that seems to be in it every year. They finally got rid of their 8th-year quarterback in Sean Clifford. So back over to you, Danny. James Franklin and the Penn State Nittany Lions, 0 or hero come the end of the season?
Absolute heroes. Absolute heroes. In fact, I would put them above. I know they don't have as big of a win as Ohio State did, but I would put them above Ohio State right now. I've just seen better all-around team at Penn State than I have with Ohio State. So they're definitely heroes, and I'm thinking they should be higher than they're actually ranked.
Yeah, absolutely. Corey, Big Ten rival to your Michigan Wolverines, 0 or hero for the Penn State Nittany Lions?
It's a 0 until I see them prove it. This is Penn State's this is their MO every year. They start off hot. They look incredible. James Franklin's finally got his guys. He's got his stud running backs. He's got the quarterback that's a pro prospect. Oh, they just lost to some nobody team. And then they get blown out by Michigan, Ohio State, sometimes Michigan State or Wisconsin. Yeah, they beat Iowa, I believe. Whatever. I don't think so. I'm going 0 until they prove it. James Franklin is a choke artist, and he's up there with the best of them.
Corey Deal, probably. I get that is their MO. That's
they got to prove it. They got to prove it to me because
I've
bit on this before, and I'm not doing it this year.
I know it's been a few years since I've bit, so it's time for me to jump back in that pool.
Yep, I
Yeah,
feel you.
the Penn State is the walking embodiment of Bo Nix. They're basically the same person. So we just know in prime time that they're going to fail us. So we are going to mark Penn State down as a 0. On to number 5. Really going to be fighting for some top 4 real estate with these teams now. Florida State, back over to you, Corey. 0 or hero. They did struggle against Clemson to close them out. What are your thoughts here?
Yeah, this is another one of those teams where I think they're just on the fringe. I'm gonna go 0, but I really wouldn't be surprised to see them end up being a hero. I I just don't think that they're gonna compete with the top 4 teams. Whereas I think Washington, USC, Oregon, some of these other teams could put up more of a fight. I'm worried about Florida State. I would like to see Florida State do well for some reason, but I'm going 0. I don't know. I just have this bad feeling.
Okay. Man, all chalk from Empty Bottle Sports tonight. We just just no confidence, man. I think we got burnt on some bets this weekend, maybe, but everyone's
I
upset.
did.
Danny, Florida State, 0 or hero.
I'm going absolute hero with this team. I mean, they had one of the best wins of the season against LSU on the I know neutral site game, but then they beat Clemson at Clemson. I can't remember the last time Clemson lost an at-home conference game. I just can't. I know it's not the
I do
Clemson of
remember them
old,
losing
but
to
it's
Duke, though.
still yeah. But they're still. I mean, it's still Clemson at home until proven otherwise. And that was their first loss in forever at home. So I'm going absolute hero. And in the short span that we've had this season, they've proved to be a very good team.
Danny and I are button heads a little today.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, you guys are really going back and forth. You know, Danny talking about how good Clemson is, yet in our group chat talks about how Gabe Kludnik is booty. So I,
Okay, yeah, he is terrible. He is
yeah,
absolutely
I don't know
terrible.
if we
But
can maybe
still,
get some
at home.
consistency here on Empty Bottle Sports with Danny. But
Check out our TikTok later. I will post the screenshots. I've got the receipts.
yeah.
Wow. Wow. I'm just gonna say I
Yeah,
was
well, I won't
hacked.
get those ones though. I don't want you to
Yeah, oh
get
yeah,
canceled.
okay. So for me, Florida State's actually going to be a 0, and the reason is I've actually got UNC, could potentially top 6, top 4 at the end of the season with Drake May. The guy is just insane. He's really good. Going to be a clear number 2, pick to Caleb Williams. Any other year, he's the number 1 pick, for sure. So I expect them to be top 6, top 4. Um, a resurgence. You know, Mac Brown coming out of retirement, he's done so well for the with the UNC Tar Heels. So I look for them to be a hero towards the end of the season. Moving on to the top 4, Ohio State. I'm not sure if we can really call this a big win. Notre Dame feels like also Bo Nix 2.0, but it, you know, I don't know if you guys watched that game live, but I did. So walk-off run, only 10 members on the field for Notre Dame. Danny, back over to you. Ohio State, 0 or hero.
Zero. Zero. I appreciate the grittiness that Ohio State showed on the last drive, actually deciding to run up the gut instead of trying to do a jet sweep like they tried in the second to last drive. That's just not Big Ten football, trying to do a jet sweep on 4th and inches. It's just not. That was cowardly by Ryan Day. I'm glad
Fourth
he
and
made up.
inches. Let's get to the sideline.
Yeah. I'm glad he made up for it on the next drive and they punched it in. They had to do it against 10 guys to actually convert it, but you know what? They still did it, and give them props, but I'm still not convinced by Ohio State.
Yeah, they are. That's going to be tough. They didn't. They were clutch. You know, they made clutch plays down the stretch. But if going up against a Michigan, we'll see what they're able to do. They did look much better with Jim Harbaugh, but we'll get to that later. Corey, Ohio State, 0 or hero.
Yeah, this one's tough. I mean, I'm already biased, obviously. I am going to say 0, but they did show grittiness for the first time all year. They didn't give up. The quarterback, while he didn't really look that good, he's getting a lot of hype, but I didn't think he really looked very good until the end of the game where Notre Dame ran the most ridiculously pathetic defensive scheme. When you have been in this quarterback's backfield and head all day long, you give him, you drop everyone back, give them the 1 yard line. It's like, yeah, I mean, any D1 Power 5 quarterback should be able to make that throw. He was like, it was, yeah, not great. And then they barely punched the ball into the end zone when they were up a man. Like
Yeah.
Notre Dame putting 10 men out there. I mean, they gifted them the win. Props to Ohio State for taking advantage and not dropping the ball. But like, I mean, I don't feel like they proved much in that game. I think Notre Dame proved more than Ohio State did. I think Notre Dame just proved that they're not ready yet. Like they've got a
Yeah.
lot of talent and grittiness too, but they're just not. In the big games, the lights are too bright. So 0.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. I think Sam Hartman needs maybe 2 or 3 more years of experience, giving him 9 or 10, and maybe Notre Dame will be ready. But outside of that,
I
I'm
thought
with
he
you
looked really
guys.
good.
Ohio State for me, 0. Let's move on to that team who's back. We all know they're back, okay, guys? They've been back. Texas at number 3, 0 or hero. Hook 'em horns. Uh,
Welcome.
Danny, what you got for these guys?
Absolute heroes, absolute heroes. Texas confirmed back. I don't want to hear anything else. And if anyone says otherwise, they're just wrong because this is the year of Texas, and Georgia is, they're shaking in their boots right now. They're terrified of what's to come. They know what they can do to Michigan, but they haven't seen Texas yet. So
Yeah.
Texas is confirmed back.
Texas just built different down there, man. Corey, 0 or hero for our Texas Longhorns.
I'm going to ignore that comment and go against my nature, and I'm going to be with Danny on this one. I'm going to go hero for Texas. I'm riding the train. They're back. Those top 2 teams are both going to drag them and squat on them at the end, but they're back. They're legit. They're a top 4, top 3 team. I'm with it. Danny's still wrong, but you get the idea.
Yeah, I'm with you guys. Texas back, 100% hero. Enough said. Moving on to number 2, a questionable number 2. I'm not really sure what we're doing here, but Michigan Wolverines. Corey, back to you. 0 or hero.
We're not back because we never left. We're going to go back, and we're going to win this time. And we are heroes, despite the fact that we really still haven't played anyone this year. We bullied Rutgers. It started off. It was a little closer than the box score showed. I feel that first half was pretty tight. I'm not going to say there was any worry or concern for me that we would ever lose that game, but I don't love to see Rutgers putting up a fight. I liked that we had like a couple dunkable teams in the Big Ten that were consistent. They're still heroes. They're still rolling. I don't expect to have much in the way of struggle until Ohio State. Penn State maybe, but like I said, I'm not sold on them. I'm not worried about them. It's Ohio State that I'm worried about more than anyone else in the Big Ten. And even then, I still think Michigan's grittier and tougher than Ohio State, and I think they're going to drag them. So,
Yeah, okay, awesome. We'll probably disagree, but I'll throw it to Danny first. 0 or hero for the Michigan Wolverines.
0, guys, because you know what? Good teams win, great teams cover, and Michigan just does not cover. They are 0 for 4 on the season with covering, and they just don't have it in them. They don't have that dog in them. They don't have that killer instinct to just put teams away like they should be. And
it's
that's
a marathon,
concerning.
not a sprint, Danny. That's always been Illinois' problem.
The thing is we trip the starting line.
You try to get off the starting blocks too fast and blow your MCL, ACL, PCL right off the gate.
Yeah, we usually run in one leg 10 steps into the race.
Wow.
Michigan, yeah, sure, they're 0 with the betting, but then the hero, they're heroes until the playoff starts.
Yeah, we'll definitely see how they fare down the stretch. Sort of like the Conference of Champions. I think the Big Ten's gonna have to start playing each other now. So we'll see who comes out on top. If there could be a lot of parity in the Big Ten this year. I'm not sure. Might end up with a couple 2-loss teams, could really hurt their chances. But I still see probably the Big Ten champion, 2 losses, probably sneak a 4 seed there. But for me, I think right now, I think I'd have to put them hero. But there is a big game against Ohio State at the end of the year. I think it's November 24th or 25th, something like that. It's
It's
on a
always in
Saturday.
November.
Tickets were upwards, I think, of north of $600 for nosebleeds. So comment down below if you want to see Empty Bottle Sports invest in those tickets. And maybe we'll have to make a road trip. We'll see, just to see Michigan
Could be a lot of empty
truly.
bottles on that trip.
Yeah. All right. Moving over to number 1, the Georgia Bulldogs have really claimed the spots all of last year and all of this year so far. Corey, back to you. 0 hero for your Georgia Bulldogs.
It's a hero, and it's gonna be that until somebody proves me wrong and beats them. And I don't see that happening in the regular season. Maybe in an SEC championship game if they draw a hard matchup there, or obviously in the playoffs, who knows? But regular season, I don't see this team losing. The gap seems to have narrowed between the SEC and the other conferences, and even between Georgia and some of the other teams potentially. But there is no evidence for me to drop them out of that hero status or that number 1 ranking. So.
Yeah, Danny, let's you've been contradicting Corey all night. What do you have to say for the Georgia Bulldogs?
Yeah, come on, Danny, come at me.
No, I gotta agree with Corey on this one. We thought the dreadnoughts of the MAC, the Ball State Cardinal, could maybe give a little bit of resistance and give them a scare, but they got absolutely crushed by Georgia. So that did not happen. I like Corey says, until proven otherwise, you just can't say 0. So they're a hero until the playoff, and then maybe the team finally picks them off.
Yeah, they're going to be. I think they'll sit at that number 1 spot all year. So I'm with you guys. I got Georgia Bulldogs as a hero. So a really great weekend of college football. Last weekend we had 3 games that both teams were ranked. So college football, man, this year is going to be so exciting. And then next year with the playoff expansion, college football is only going to continue to grow. So very, very excited for that in the future. But for now, we'll skip ahead to the NFL. We also had a great week